What's up, YouTube? In this video, I'm going to be talking about 27 critical questions to ask before knowing it's safe to seriously commit to someone. So, before knowing if it's safe. So, number one, how they cope when they are mad. If your partner or this other person is yelling, screaming, and just can't control their emotions overall in general, that's not somebody you know, it's up to you. It's not somebody I would want to be with, because I personally went through a meditation journey and yoga journey and been on meditation retreats, which taught me that my ideas, that my emotions are separate. My emotions and my thoughts are separate from my five senses, my five physical senses. And so I know that anybody's actions are completely separate from me, and the only thing I have control of are my reactions. Number two, how to find out if someone, it's, critical questions to ask if it's safe to seriously commit to somebody. Number two, their level of empathy and ability to take responsibility. So, you don't want to just be with somebody who's completely apathetic, maybe because they had one or two parents in their childhood growing up who just wasn't emotionally there for them, or perhaps that parent did not know how to emotionally cope themselves. That would cause somebody to grow up having a lack of, basically they're not caring about anything, being completely just like apathetic. So their level of empathy is really important to look at, and their ability to take responsibility. Another thing that people do is they use other people as a scapegoat. Well, it's never their fault. It's always everybody else's problem, and that's a huge red flag that you'll want to look for before jumping into a relationship with someone. Number three, understanding of their sexual and mental health. So some people have different attachment styles to sex, and that's important to look at. And then also with mental health, what does their mental health look like? Are they stable? What is their reaction to chemicals and substances? You know, is exercise in their life? How important is it? Just how stable and as a person overall are they? Like mentally, how stable are they? Mental health is a whole deep topic we could dive into. All right, this is number five, how they grew up and handle conflict. So, are they easy to forgive? But that's great. But if they're just ignoring situations and not talking through them, that same problem or conflict is going to arise again. So, also, screaming is never okay. So, are they gonna take you aside, and did their parents take them aside when there was conflict, and instead of shouting and screaming, did they calmly speak to that child and ask, how do you feel? Tell me how you feel. How would you handle it differently? And speak calmly to find that resolution and solution together. If children didn't have that, if you didn't have that as a child growing up, you're going to have to learn how to handle conflict. And just because your childhood is a certain way, that's not an excuse as an adult that you don't know how to handle conflict without screaming at each other. Or just, without having the patience to, and the strength to properly communicate and understand that nothing can get solved without communication. Granted, sometimes arguing can be very productive, but the key here is communication. All right, next, if they're able to demonstrate consistency. So nothing can get accomplished if you're just doing all these different things and running around in circles, right? So in any sort of achieving a goal or just overall being a stable person to be in a relationship with, you want to demonstrate consistency. How they plan to raise and discipline their children. Whew. So this is a big one. In the old days, I think that spanking was acceptable. These days, it's not. I am not the expert in being a parent, and I don't think any parent would claim to be the expert in being a parent. I'm not a parent. So, but I do think that it's important to look at, before you become a parent, if that's something you're, thinking about or talking about, you've got to talk about it and what the discipline style is. That is that's a subject that nobody should take lightly. Next is the inner work that they have done. So I personally, like I stated before, I've went on just done retreats, workshops. I'm totally into yoga. My yoga and meditation journey was really important in my life, and it shaped me as a person. So I am on that journey. I am proud of it. I am, dedicated to it, and it's a strong point in my life. So a partner for me, for example, would be somebody who is totally into their inner growth as well. Next is, how do they fit in with your family and friend system, and how you fit in with theirs. So, not everybody has to get along with your family, but you do have to respect each other and communicate. If your family isn't communicating with your partner, or if you're not, if there's no communication there, the communication needs to be there. Like, obviously you're responsible for communicating with your partner when it comes to family obligations, because your partner is not in your family unless they're married. So you guys have to communicate and make your partner feel comfortable. You guys don't have, you don't have to get along with your partner's family, or they don't have to be your favorite people in the world, but that level of respect, and of course that communication needs to be there. And then next, their level of honesty and communication. So that comes down to knowing yourself, your emotions, your emotional self. So if you were raised to not, or if this person or partner was raised to not know their emotions, not know how to get their point across, not know how to communicate their feelings, it's going to be hard for that person to communicate honestly with you and their emotions. And this especially is very hard for men. And this is where the relationship between a man and his mom, the boy and his mom, the boy who grew up to be a man, becomes very important and comes, into play. So a boy relationship with his mom is very important, because he grows into be a man, and then he learns how to, assuming that the woman is the mom, is exuding that feminine energy. She's talking about the emotions, and she's making the little boy feel comfortable talking about his emotions. Then that boy grows up to be a man and learns how to talk about his emotions in the relationship that he has with said other person, man or woman, or whoever he decides to be with. Or by gender, cross-binary, on all the terms that are relevant for today in today's world. All right, next. You got to look at how they take responsibility for their own emotions, behaviors, and choices. Again, this is not turning back and blaming other people for your problems and deflecting your problems on other people, but saying, hey, I made a mistake here, but I take ownership for it. Or, hey, I failed here, but I'm going to get back on that horse and try again. Or just a general sense of responsibility overall, so that, you're not blaming other people for your problems. And then also, with their emotions, behaviors, with their emotions as well. I mean, it's just taking responsibility for how you feel, whether or not, there's no good or bad feelings. It's just, but you can choose how you react and how you behave in a certain situation. Next, if they can be patient in hard situations. So, life is tough. Things take time. Nothing is guaranteed to come right away. Money doesn't grow on trees. Success doesn't happen overnight. Arguments take time. And if you and your partner, or this person in your relationship, is not seeing eye to eye with you, that is normal. It's completely a normal thing that happens, but you have to dedicate to being patient and talking to the other person. So if there's one person in the relationship who's doing all of the talking, all of the fixing, all of the, oh my gosh, I realized this is like, I'm taking responsibility. This is my problem. This is my fault. I learned this is how I can improve, journaling, writing about it, trying to be the better, person, and growing, and taking that relationship as an opportunity for growth. But the other person is not. Like you literally will say 20-minute monologue of how you feel and all these things and how you can be better. And then the other person just says, okay, cool. Well, nice talk. That's like hitting a brick wall. So you're going to want to have to consider picking a partner who, if partner you want to have a relationship with, you have to consider that they need to be patient in hard situations. And if you have kids, think about kids screaming in the back of the car. Like, are they going to freak out and like start yelling and drive off the side of the road? Or are they just going to like take a deep breath, calm themselves down, which is, I need to do. It's great to take a breath. I'll take advantage of that right now. But yeah, so are they going to be patient in hard situations? All right, moving on. And I must say, I got some of these ideas from Alyssa Marie Wellness on Instagram. So I'm totally going to give her a shout out, and thanks for these very useful and important bullet points. Very, very handy. All right, moving on. This is such a long video, but it's so worth it. Another thing to consider before seriously committing to someone, you have to ask if they're able to set their own boundaries. So people who are not able to set their own boundaries also have a hard time respecting other people's boundaries. So it's actually a really good thing when someone knows how to say no, when someone knows how to say, this isn't good for me, and they ask for space from you. That's actually a green light. That's a good sign, meaning you can sometimes almost safely assume that they're able to respect your boundaries if they can set their own. Next is looking at their perspective on how they want to divide chores and responsibilities. So hey, like if you're considering living with your partner, which many couples do, a lot of relationships you live together, then chores and responsibilities are obviously a very relevant topic. So whether it's financial responsibilities or just easy peasy doing the dishes, chores around the house, that's definitely something you want to talk about. Next is their ability to be honest when they're uncertain about something. So this is kind of like what you learn job 101, like when just in the workforce. If you don't know the answer to something, just say, I don't know. That's better to be honest than try to pretend like you know the answer or make up a lie. And it also brings confidence when you can just be your honest self. When you can be yourself and be honest, then you don't have to, it's not so much work because you don't have to think about lying and what you're going to say and then remembering the lie later. So being honest when uncertain about something. And then also how they respond to situations when they're angry or offended. So this kind of goes back to not yelling, how they can compose themselves, understanding that our thoughts and our emotions are different than our five senses, and that we are just completely separate. We're a spiritual being inside a human body. And so understanding that it really helps just going on a meditation journey, and I recommend it for anybody to be able to then learn how to respond with more composure when you're upset or you're angry or you're offended. So looking at that and your potential partner is very important. And then how they speak about people that they had a falling out with. So if you're gonna ask them like what they think of their ex. If they're just totally bashing their ex, that's kind of a red flag right there. I mean, obviously there's usually good that comes out of at least some good that comes out of most relationships. Hopefully, if you're staying in it. So yeah, I think it's important to, just see, also that'll show you if they're taking responsibility for themselves, or again, if they're blaming everybody else for their own problems and their own actions. How they process being mad. This is all kind of like repeated content. How they respond to feedback, boundary setting. Again, they're going to respect your boundaries. If they're not, if they know how to set their own, if they're not respecting your boundaries, that's a red flag. And then hygiene habits, brushing their teeth, how often do they shower? Like these are all very important things because hygiene is just very important on a physical level. Moving on, we've just got a handful or so more. So their thoughts on monogamy, children, marriage, and home ownership. Oh my gosh, these are just such a heavy list, right? I mean, monogamy, what do they think about it versus polygamy or Open relationships, I certainly know where I stand on that. Children, do they want them? Do they not? Whew, it's hard. These are hard topics, right? Some people know, some people don't. Marriage, do they want it? Do they not? Pros and cons, benefits, home ownership. Do they want to buy a house? Have they already bought a house? Do they care about buying a house? Do they just want to rent, live by the beach? Do they want to travel? Questions. These are all important things to talk about when you're considering your partner, and if you are compatible. Next, their compassion toward people who are different than them. A lot of times people don't like what they don't understand. So just because somebody is different than you does not mean that really if that person is just not liking people because they're different, which goes into play politically, especially today, in today's day and age, it's kind of a sign of being closed-minded. I mean, we're all human, right? We're really all, we're all human. That's like one thing that we can agree on, that we're all human. So let's just say that everyone's going to have differences, but we have to respect those differences and be open-minded to other ways of thinking. Otherwise, you're just like marching on in a completely closed-minded society, and there's many, which poses many, many dangers. Do they have road rage? We kind of talked about that in the example of like if they have, kids in the back and you're running off the road and yelling if the kids are screaming in the back. But if you don't have any kids and you're just in the car, I mean, that's very scary because a lot of accidents happen on the road. So that's a good question. Do they have road rage? What are their top values and priorities in life? Are they capable of identifying their needs? Can they share mental load, or will you have to plan everything? It's really good to have a partner who plans in advance with you. And then the last two, their ability to compromise regarding differences. So yeah, a lot of people have differences. Not everybody is alike, and that's a beautiful thing. It allows, us to all be more open-minded when you have differences. And are they willing to compromise and slow down and communicate and be patient enough to take the time, listen, talk, express themselves, and if things aren't working out, you compromise. You take turns compromising. And then their communication style and how they handle uncomfortable situations. So a lot of these are repeated topics, but their communication style is very important. And, you have to be comfortable handling uncomfortable situations, because the only constant is change, and change is inevitable. So also, like, it's important to look at communication style as far as, are they passive aggressive? Are they not owning their, talking about their true needs, and just, are they assuming that you're reading their mind? Communication is just key. I can't think of a more important thing in a relationship other than maybe like trust and loyalty, and setting boundaries. I mean, it's all important, but communication is a great last one to end on. So I wanted to give another shout out to Alyssa Marie Wellness. I am going to tag you in here. If you want to check out her content, head over to Alyssa Marie Wellness, ALYSSA Marie Wellness. This is great content to share, and thank you for all these topic ideas. And thanks for watching this video. Hope this helped you, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and like it so you can get more updates. Thanks so much. Bye.